Hey everybody, David the AI Guide here. Welcome to our temporary studio, and the new studio will be ready in about 3 weeks, and we're excited about that. It'll start off similar to our original studio, but we'll quickly develop new capabilities that were not possible in our previous studio. So we here at the AI Guide are very excited about this. I'm excited about this. And thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Also, free resource, totally free. The resource is free. Everything in the resource is free. Short courses to learn more about AI than we can teach here in these videos, where you're going to need to know this for your job in 2 to 3 years. That's right, I said it and it's true. Only 2 to 3 years. You will be using AI all day at your job, above and beyond the AI that's already in place that we've talked about in other videos, principally the Microsoft Office suite. But last time we did the first installment on a complete update of self-driving and where it is. And so I'm happy to continue to share this with you because this is up-to-date market research that's telling us where everything is. And last time we talked about self-driving generally. We talked about the different levels of autonomy, and we talked about the importance of self-driving to eliminating, for the most part, human fatalities in driving, because humans make errors and kill people, and think about eliminating the drunk driver problem as a principal example. So where are automakers right now with this? So Toyota and Honda are launching more and more vehicles with features that have blind spot detection, rear cross traffic, lane keep assist, forward collision warning, and automatic emergency braking as standard. So those guys by model year 2023, which starts in September of this year, 2022, will have all those standard on all their vehicles. And a number of car companies are getting ready or are rolling out level 3 autonomy, which is, what is that? That's where the driver sits there and principally doesn't drive, particularly on freeways and divided highways. The car drives itself, but the driver has to be ready to assume control the vehicle at any moment. So you can't space out and not pay attention, but you don't have to actually drive. This market research piece says Cadillac, Tesla, Nissan, and Audi are rolling those out shortly, model 23 year. As you can tell, those are all luxury brands, and these levels of autonomy, level 3, 4, 5, will roll out first to luxury vehicles. Why? Because the cost of the components, which we're going to talk about more in a second, is high. So you need to be selling a luxury vehicle. But as all of these components that run self-driving get mass produced, the cost will be driven down, and then it will start to show up in regular cars. And last time we talked about how there's still 38,000 fatalities a year here in the US, and far, far higher in Europe. So luxury vehicles are becoming more and more of the market. Why? Because there's more and more affluent people in Western Europe and the US and Canada and places like this. So the demand for luxury cars continues to increase, and that will see more and more people exposed to level 3 and 4 driving technology very, very shortly. Now, how does self-driving work? A few different things. Optical cameras, radar, and LiDAR, but all those are useless without AI. These technologies, these sensor technologies require AI, an algorithm, to receive and process very, very quickly all of these images that are being generated, which is thousands and thousands of images a minute, right? So the processor has to be very powerful, and we've talked recently in other vehicles about how NVIDIA, Mobileye, and others, a company out of Israel, are developing much more powerful chips for self-driving, which is necessary. But there's also ultrasonic sensors and now high-def cameras. Why will all of these technologies initially only work in good weather? I'll give you a great example. Snow, right? Snowstorm. Snow in an active snowstorm quickly accumulates on your headlights, right? But your headlights are hot, so it melts on contact. Radar, LiDAR, optical cameras are not hot, and therefore the snow accumulates and the car suddenly can't see. So one of the enabling technologies has to be heater systems that will keep the radar sensors, the LiDAR sensors, and the optical cameras, not headlights, free of snow and potentially mud and other stuff coming up from the road or from weather, rain. Critical to really having self-driving, right? So this applies, everything we're talking about applies not just to cars, but to trucks and other forms of transportation like railroad engines, for example, will be fully self-driving. So what are all these technologies? Radar, LiDAR, they are something we've talked about several times before, perception AI, which means better sensors, all controlled by an algorithm that processes images more and more and more quickly. And perception AI quality has been increasing dramatically in the last 5 years. 5 years ago, self-driving impossible. Now starting to become possible to the point where level 3 autonomy, as we just heard, is rolling out to the industry this coming model year, and we'll push down from luxury cars to the mass market in the next few years. And there's a lot of discussion about the benefits of these different technologies. So they all work differently, right? Radar can work in conditions that optical cameras can't. Optical cameras see better, more clearly, sharper now with HD than radar. And then radar has issues, and that's why LiDAR came to be. But LiDAR, laser radar, is very expensive still. So there's a company out of, I think it's Israel again, that invented an advanced radar system in a box that's super cheap. And this will enable the radar technology to hit the mass market, and it removes the need for LiDAR. So there's a lot of dynamic stuff still going on right now today as self-driving rises through the level of autonomy. But you can see from what I just read that brand new technologies are constantly coming out, that the chips running the AI to make self-driving possible, a necessary condition for self-driving AI is. That is increasing in sophistication too, with more processing power and better algorithms, and that ties into the better perception AI. And this is rapidly improving now, every single year, year over year. This is why I've been saying, all last year in 2021, I was saying within 5 years, most vehicles will be fully self-driving. So now we're down to 4 years, right? Private passenger vehicles in particular will be level 4 and level 5 within 4 years. And trucks are likely to be too, because as we've talked about, there's a 30,000 person trucker shortage today. So self-driving will impact different markets differently. On the truck side, for a long time, it's just going to provide the capacity that cannot be provided because there's not enough humans to drive trucks. But on the passenger vehicle side, particularly taxis, Uber, Lyft, this technology will displace people, and people will have to find other jobs, maybe driving trucks, which, by the way, is a very good paying job these days. Commercial truck companies start you out at 80 grand today, 80,000 a year, and your training is free. So it's a hard life, and they tell you that, but it's a lot of money, particularly if you live in the middle of the country or in a rural area anywhere. It's a lot of money. Not as much if you live in a major metro area like New York, LA, or San Francisco, I'm sorry to say. So what does all this tell us about AI-driven self-driving, which is the driver for self-driving, perception AI, and more powerful chips and better sensors, all this stuff working together? It tells us that year over year, the level of autonomy will increase. Why? Because think this coming model year, with all of these cars across all of these manufacturers with level 3 autonomy, that will dramatically accelerate the ability to get to level 4 because of the data, and the further improvement in sensors and algorithms and chip processing power is guaranteed year over year. It happens every single year. It's guaranteed. So within a few years, level 5 autonomy will be common, and then we'll start to see the robo-taxis with only seats and no steering wheel, no driver, no gas and brake pedals, none of that. It will change. On-demand full autonomy will change the way people get around over the 10 years after it debuts. It will change completely because the economics, and we don't have time to get into that, but the economics will drive it to full adoption, except for people who really still want to drive a car and do it as a hobby, but not for day-to-day living and work and travel. Big stuff, big changes coming. This is what I keep telling you. Prepare yourself. Get the free resource below. Get my book on Amazon. Prepare yourself. Learn new skills constantly. Believe in yourself. Have faith, and you will survive this massive transition that's on us now. Thanks. Take care. See you next time.